Okay, I'm back at Northcoates for the Nieuport 11 build. Had a week off as I've had to do a proper job and actually work, but that's been nice getting back to work and doing full time for a bit. Come back to finish the lower wings now basically. So a lot of riveting to do. I'll get my Duralac out, get my rivet gun sorted, and we shall hopefully shoot some rivets and get these bottom wings finished up, certainly as far as the ribs and the D-box are going. So let's hope. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, so I've just popped into the workshop after a day at work. I'm having to work for the next couple of weeks to cover some holidays, and I left a job half done. So I've just really popped in to do a little bit of fettling. I hate leaving jobs half done, so I've pretty much got as far as I'm happy to go. Mainly I'd made a cock up. You'll be surprised to hear a slight cock up. As you can see, these are the lower wings. I've got the D-box skins on both wings now. There they are, all clecoed. Totally out of clecos now, with the 1/8 clecos, so I've got to start riveting now. But my mistake was, when I'd set all the ribs, I'd sort of forgotten about the wires, about the cables. I knew they had to come through the D-box. That's not the problem. As you can see, I've made a hole there. My problem was that I had put this rib, as you can see, there, it was too near the cable, and when the cable came out, it's going to go at that sort of angle, rear and front. There, that's the front one, this one's the rear one, and it was going to be connecting, although not at the rear it wasn't a problem, it was actually the front one that was the problem. With the skin on, it was connecting with the this rib. So I don't know whether you can see in there. What I had to do was drill out the rib and move it, and you can just see the holes I've filled in. It's not structural as such, but I've filled the holes in so that it's still got to be a nice smooth finish when the cloth goes on. So I had to move that about 2.5 inches to the left, but of course that meant I filled those holes in, but I had to match up the holes, which you can see there, with the holes that were already in the rib. So I made myself a rudimentary hole finder, which is that, just 2 thin sheets of the skin. Put a 1/8 rivet end in, as you can see. Drilled a hole straight through, basically through the 2 pieces, so they matched up. Riveted them together at the other end, so it's basically just like a tuning fork or something like that. You know, it's just got to just 2 pieces of flat metal. The rivet then goes in the hole that's already made in the rib, which is just there. Okay, so I'll put that in the hole in the rib, and then that hole of course matches up with it, and you can drill a hole through and it lines up exactly with the hole that's there. And I've done that. Obviously it's thin piece metal because I had to get it right the way down the D. So that solved that. Quite happy with that. Very rudimentary, but it worked a treat, so I'm pleased with that. And cleaned up those holes, so we're still going to have a nice smooth skin. All needs cleaning up, and then it's going to be a day riveting next time I get a chance. So, but yeah, coming on again, still making this steady progress through it. Got to tidy up the ends as I did on the top wing there. You may notice that I've also primered. That top wing's pretty much fully primered now, as is the other top wing behind it. Fuselage has got its top coat of car paint on it, which is going to happen to the wings as well, and the tail. They all need spraying to protect them, as will these two. So I've got a stock of cans. It's all done by rattle can. because it's convenient and easy. Basically, I'm no painter, but it goes on quite easy, and it's a protection. It doesn't. I don't want it too heavy a coat. It's just a protection for the metalwork in this salty Northcoates atmosphere. So coming on, but it's going to be I might get down the odd time, a couple of weeks of full-time work. Don't know what's hit me. All right, folks, that's it for now. So, we have had a big move around. I very kindly got the guys at the club very kindly came and helped me move the bench that was down the centre of the workshop, and we put it over in the corner. I'd forgotten that I actually extended it so it didn't fit where it came from, but it's in there in a fashion, and as you can see, all the major parts are pretty much there. Still some to do on the fuselage and the controls and stuff, but from the utter chaos you can see we are painting. I've undercoated, everything is now fully undercoated, or etch primed as it should be called, and I've started on the gloss coating. One wing half done, rudder half done, fuselage done, and the rest to do. So calling it a day because I'm breathing in paint fumes and getting high. So that's the state of play. Next job, once I've got all these things painted, is to get the airframe put together, get the wings on, get it all sorted out and trued up and everything. So that'll be the next phase, but I needed room to do that, and hence the bench being moved. Still need the bench to cover and stuff, but that's once I've got this all trued up and worked out and all the wings and everything on and the control systems in place, then we shall be having an aeroplane. So it sounds quite exciting for me, but yeah, pleased with the way it's gone again today. Not really done, just finished the bottom wings as you can see there and given them a coat of paint. I'm not going to film me painting the damn things. It'll be as exciting as watching paint dry, won't it? Let's face it. So yeah, I'll be back to you when I've got it all painted and we start rigging up. It's 9 o'clock Thursday morning. Sat in the workshop on a stool, thoroughly dejected, pissed off, and incredibly annoyed with myself. I've made a right cock up, and I just can't believe how stupid I've been to do a basic error. And it's not just a tiny cock up. When I make a cock up, I do it full on, big time, great, expensive cock up, and that's what I've done today. Building an aeroplane, I guess, is full of highs and lows. I've done it a few times, and you know, there's been tears and joy and all the rest of that stuff that goes with it. And hopefully, touching wood, this will be the one and only major cock up. But it's a good one. It's a good cock up. And I suppose, like all cock ups, it just takes a case of throwing time and money at it, and we can resolve the cock up. And part of the joy of making an aeroplane, I suppose, is, as I've said before, you know, if it all goes well, it's all very nice, but it's overcoming the difficulties and sorting out the cock ups, which sort of makes it worthwhile in the end. And of course, the beauty I was going to say of doing this, the interesting about doing this is, it's not until the last minute, after years, literally years of building, you get into an aeroplane and you just hope you've done it right enough for it to fly. And again, up to now, that's been a great thing, but there's no guarantees at all, really. You know, the science is there and stuff, but it's the application of it. And my application of the science has been pretty frigging crap today, or this week anyway. So, where do I start? I guess I'll tell you a story if you're sitting comfortably. Once upon a time, there was an old bald moron. Let's call him Tim for sake of anything else. And Tim lived in a little on a little island with strange, quaint customs, such as turning the clocks forward at the beginning of summer and turning them back at the end of summer, and pointless archaic things like that. And in this little country, he liked making airplanes. And he built a few and thoroughly enjoyed the process generally, ups and downs as there is. But this Sunday, just when the clocks had gone back and he had an extra hour in bed, he woke at his usual time because his body clock wasn't quite in sync with the new times, and sat there as he did, as was his wont, sitting and thinking about the next plan for the build and where he would go next. And he was just doing that when he was overcome with a sudden realisation that he'd been a moron and absolutely cocked something up. Now, it wasn't early onset moronism. This was a full 60+ year apprenticeship, working hard and trying at it before becoming a fully fledged idiotic moron. So you can't say I hadn't worked at it. It put a lot of effort into this aim to become total dickhead. So what I've done, to get to the point in a long-winded manner, what I've done is I've managed to rivet through the lower edges of the main spars on both lower wings. I knew I shouldn't have done that. I didn't do it on the top wings, and I knew why I didn't do it on the top wings. But for some strange reason, whether it was because they were the final pieces, eye on the prize and all that crap, I don't know. I really don't. I've got no excuses whatsoever for being the moron. The wing spars are what holds an airplane in the air, basically. All the stresses of flight go through the wing spars. And you can drill holes on the front of them because all the stresses are going vertically, not horizontally through the spars. And I drilled the D-box leading edges onto the front of the wing spar, drilled and riveted. That's fine. The top of the wing spars, they are riveted onto the ribs, which is fine because it's not going through the spars. There are no holes in the top and bottom surfaces of the spars. Then I flipped them over, and instead of riveting the D-box sheets to the ribs underneath, a whole long line of holes in the lower edge of the spar, and riveted them together. Thinking, wow, what a great job, that looks nice and neat. What I've done is I've weakened the whole bloody spars, both of them, not just one, both of the spars, and I'm now going to have to take the whole thing apart again, basically back to component pieces, and rebuild them again. So, as you can imagine, I am pretty pissed off with myself. And it's not like I didn't know. It really isn't like I didn't know. I don't know, old age, stupidity, senility, or just the fact that I am now a fully fledged moron. I don't know. So, first of all, I've got to get my head around the fact that I've done it. It's not that I can't replace it. I can. I've spoken to Paul, who has been absolutely fantastic, and I would recommend anybody who's wanting to build one of these kits, if you love the First World War stuff, much I'm moaning about plans and stuff, they're a good kit. If you've got a single brain cell, you should be able to build it. And Paul has been absolutely fantastic with support. He's got two spars that he's going to get to me in the next couple of days. I can't complain, you know. He has been absolutely brilliant. He's gone out of his way to be helpful, and that's a rare thing, to be honest, in anything in modern life. So, Paul at Grasstrip Aviation, you're a gent. Really appreciate it. In fact, when I need a carer, a support worker, you're first on the list because it's coming quick. Is all I would say. So. That's the score.
once I get over my depression and misery, I shall start doing something about it. I think today I shall work on the bows on the top rib, on the top wings, because those are all right. The top wings actually are built right. And then I shall look at taking apart, setting up some jigs to remove the front spars. My thought is I can remove the front spars, leaving the rest of it in place. I'll have to drill out the rivets, obviously, but if I remove the front spars, if I can, in one piece, remove them, set them up in a jig on the bench, and drill them to exact copies of the previous ones I've to take out. So that's the thought, but the practicality of that might be somewhat different. And excuse me, need tea, the only thing that keeps me sane at the minute. So that's my thought of how I'm going to do it. I'll look into it in a minute, but I'm really not in the frame of mind or in the mood or in the right place to be thinking about that at the minute. So no doubt 3 o'clock in the morning, when my body clock's still shagged, I shall be thinking about it then and putting in a basic plan in my very small brain as to how I'm going to solve the problem. So that's the update. I apologise for it being a downer, and as I said at the beginning, hopefully this is the only one. No guarantees, none at all, but that's it, and onwards and upwards. I shall pick myself up, get back together. Just takes money and time, and we'll sort it. And thanks for your patience. Cheers. So after an incredibly depressing start to the week, with fantastic service from Paul at Grass Strip Aviation. Check him out, guys. He's a really great guy. He's come today, literally 2 days after I rang him with my tales of woe. He came down and he's fetched me the new spars. So I had a play around first thing this morning, and I put this bow in here. It seems very shallow compared to a lot of them I've seen on there, but it's a bow and it fits and it works. We'll see how nice it looks when I get the wings together, because obviously it's two parts. The wings will be joined, and those two bits, I've not cut them to length there. These bits here, they're not cut to length yet, and those two bits that are taped in there are identical pieces, so I can put one in this side and one in the other side so that they should match up theoretically. But that's it. After a lot of faffing about, he ended up with quite a nice job. Quite pleased with the results on that. Needs a bit of tidying up there where I've had to join some tubing, but that's not a major problem. We'll do that next time I'm down. And now on to what is a major problem. Although, as you can see, I have managed to slide out the front spar, which was really unexpected. Luckily, I'd made it quite well. All the tolerances were pretty cool and pretty smooth. So what I had to do was drill out, see if I can show you. Where I'd gone wrong is I drilled all those rivets with the D-box covers, all those, I drilled into the spar, and that's an absolute no-no. It just weakens the spar along its main length of stress as well. You can put them on the front. You'll notice that they are on the front of the upper wings that I did. Perfectly right, all rightly done. Riveted into the rib, riveted into the front of the spar, and riveted into the rib there. And I can only think, because I did one after another, I just got into the idea of riveting into the spar, and it was stupid. So it's had a quick coat of paint, needs another tidying off really, but I don't want to put too much on, as I said before. So what I have done, I've taken that spar out of there, and it came out relatively easily. Whether I'll get it in or not, I don't know. That's the difficult part, because obviously all the stress is taken by these cables here, which I managed to drill out and pull out. That's not been a problem. Whether I'll get them back in again, because they're under a hell of a lot of tension by then. So what I did was I made up a jig using the wing before I took it apart, and as you can see on there, those are 1 or 2 holes that I put in a spar. Points for stupidity, as I've mentioned before. Yeah, we get a lot for that one. We really do. Top score for being an arsehole. So what I've done, I made the jig, as you can see, the wooden jigs here. That's the old one. I've put the new one, cut it to size, shaped it here, as you can see. It's in the jig, fits perfectly in there, and it's just a case of marking out now the big holes. Obviously I won't be putting those little ones in there again, but these ones, this is where one is where the wing attaches to the fuselage cross members, and the other one is where the 2 cross members go in the centre of the wing. That's this one and that one, and as you can see on the rear wing here, they are drilled through, and that's where these 2 cables hold on to, and they go into there like that. Those bits go into the tube and hold the spar on. So that's the that will be the difficulty, getting it back in, but up to now it came off surprisingly easy. I really wasn't expecting it to do that. Really wasn't expecting it. Obviously I'm going to get left with a whole load of holes, but they're going to be covered up by the cloth, so I'll probably just fill those. I don't see a problem with filling them. Calling it a day now, but I've eased my troubled mind somewhat, and I shall start drilling these holes next time I'm down, maybe at the weekend. But after much soul searching and extremely annoyed with myself, we're back on the way with it. You know, like I said, you throw money and you throw time at it and you fix the problem. So that's where we are. End of the day, a little bit happier with myself, not a lot, but a little bit, and it's the joys of making airplanes. Cheers, folks. Well, there we go, about 5 hours work, and I have replaced the front spar with a nice shiny new spar with no holes in the wrong place, and that went so much easier than I expected. I was very lucky with it. I was able to slide out the old spar, bit of stress from the cables here, but just enough to be able to get the extension to pull them out of the bits, and yeah, that went unbelievably well. I am so pleased with the results of that. All I've got to do is make sure that the holes I've made here actually fit in the airframe, which they're in exactly the same place as the previous ones, so shouldn't be a problem. Went really well. So one done, one more to go. So I've got to drill out all these rivets and take it apart again. Whether this will go the same way, there are no guarantees this one will go the same way at all. A lot of it's to do with the tension of these cables here. They were the biggest problem, but I was able to slide them out with a bit of help from some clamps. So that's the next job for today. I'm going to try and take off, I'll get these rivets undrilled and go on to it. So I can only say I am more than happy with the results of that. You can see the bows. This is probably one of the reasons I actually drilled them in the first place. There is a bit of a bow, but I'm hoping that once the skin goes on that, it will settle it down. I was a bit bothered about the end one, So I've actually put a false rib tip in here, as you can see, just to fetch it down, keep that less bowed. As you can see from the next one, look, and the next one, I figured those are central. I might leave those, but the end one, possibly put a false rib in there. I'll see. Again, it's down to weight. I know these are tiny little bits, but the tiny bits add up. But I'll think about that. Might even be up until the point where I try to skin it and decide then. But yeah, that's gone well. Fingers crossed for the second one. I've had another move around. Got the last week's cock up. Is all sorted. Replaced the spars, which are those two chunks up there. They're the old ones with all the holes in them, and the new spars are in place in both lower wings and riveted on the ribs in the correct place, as they should have been done in the first place. But it was actually easier than I could have dreamt would be possible, really. I managed to slide out the spars, cut and drill the new ones, and slide them back in again. 8 hours. I changed 2 main spars. That's not bad going, really. So you know, in the great scheme of things, not the end of the world. I have top wing on the bench there, 2 low wings just waiting to be painted. I've run out of paint. That's where I'm heading next. The other top wing up there painted in a fashion. Rudder up there painted. Fuselage partially painted, and the elevators and horizontal stabilizer up there, just finished painting that. So I've just started on trying to have a look at this tail wheel, which is down there, taking the old one off, which is down there too, and I'm going to have a look at that next job when I come down tomorrow, and then get these other wings, just a thin top coat of paint to protect them, and then we'll look at getting it rigged up. I think I'll probably do the elevator first, get the elevators rigged up now that they're painted, get that elevator rigged up, and check everything works correctly there before I start putting wings on while I can get at bits, because it's got to come the full length from the stick there all the way to the tail here. It's just a long torque tube, but it needs supporting along its length and stuff, so I'll probably do that first before I rig it, and then, you know, we're getting there, bit at a time. A few hiccups along the way, as you know, but yeah, there's a lot of aeroplaning bits all over the place now, and it would be nice to see it come together. Well, after a pretty crap start to the week, as you've no doubt seen on the earlier video, we've turned things around, got the wings all sorted, changed the spars. It's all gone very smoothly in actual fact, and I have now finished the major build parts of the wings, and we're just looking at setting up some controls on the actual fuselage, getting some elevators and rudder controls and stuff. So I'm just working at that today. Calling it a day now, but I'll spin this around, show you what I've done and how things look. So there we are. Rudder is in place, horizontal stabilizer and elevators are in place. The control push rod I have fitted in place, and we can now move the elevators. Yeah, so the elevators now move up and down, and the rudder also, it's not rigged up properly, but I've just run some string through to see where the cables are going to run,
I think I'll run them quite high up the sides. I think it keeps them out of the way of the aileron bell crank, and we'll just put some tubes in to direct the cables, keep them to run so they run smoothly. Some plastic tubing, I guess, of some sort. I've also been making some nylon bits. These are going to go as guides. If I can see where my hand is. Oh, there we go. As guides going through the tube, and just going to be onto the fuselage, just as guides to keep this this push rod away from the metalwork and keep things running smoothly. So that's it. Wing there, 2 wings there, wing on the wall, all painted with a thin coat of white rattle can gloss car paint to give them a nice bit of protection, and hopefully the glue for the skins will stick to that nicely. Nice smooth finish. I've got plans to put a wood finish on these, so I've painted, these are going to be the trial ones, the V struts there. I've painted the brackets at each end in black, and we will do the same for those up there, and those will be hopefully in a wood finish. I've got some carved vinyl wrap that's looks like quite good quality stuff, so hopefully we shall attempt to get a decent wood type finish on those. That'll be a bit of experimentation for me. So, but yep, looking like we've got most of the bits. I thought I'd do the fuselage controls first. We've got the turtle deck to go on, but I guess the more I put on, the more is going to be in the way. So I'm going to do all this first, get them all rigged up, get the cables in place, proper rudder cables in, not just bits of string, and then we'll look at maybe rigging the whole thing up first, or maybe doing the turtle deck. I don't know yet, but there we go. We've got, I'll step back a bit, we've got a good chunk of aeroplane filling the workshop now. I'm having to limbo under it most of the time. Cheers, folks.